Welcome to episode 34 of the Sweet Natured Cruise Cast. Hi, I'm Linz, as always I'm joined by Marky.
Hello.
Hello, and today we're talking when and when you shouldn't buy a drinks package. But first, a little mood music.
What did you think of today's mood music?
I think you better buy a Euro Millions lottery ticket. That was actually quite good for talking about drinks.
And at the time of recording, it is Euro Millions Day, and it's a big one tonight.
I think you should. I think that's the closest. I think my life's about to change because that's the closest music you've ever had. I don't know what to say. Well done.
Yay. Well, I'm not going to dwell on that.
I'm going to have a drink.
You can do. So today we're talking about when you should or shouldn't buy a drinks package.
Mm-hmm.
As usual, we've got a couple of news stories to talk about as well.
Lovely.
We've got some big news stories this week. And we've got a cruise confession.
Okay.
So, shall we kick off with when you should and shouldn't buy a drinks package?
Yes, let's talk about that.
We do like a drinks package.
Mm-hmm.
And we pretty much always buy them. There's a couple of cruise lines where the drinks package don't work as well for us.
Yes.
That ain't specifically what I thought we'd talk about today.
No.
It's more, for instance, if you've got a really port-intensive cruise.
Are you going to get your money's worth?
Yeah.
Understand.
So what's your thoughts?
I like a drinks package, but not necessarily for the drinking. And I know that sounds weird coming from me.
It does sound very weird coming from you.
It's the peace of mind that I've costed, I've budgeted. I'm not going to get slapped with a big bill at the end. And I can enjoy a drink knowing, and I can try new drinks because I like to try new drinks. And
you like your classics as well.
I like my classics. I love my classics, but I also like to try new things, and I can do that on a drinks package, on quite a few of the drinks packages. And that's why I like a drinks package. It isn't necessarily about the amount of drinking I can get in. If I would like on a port day, I might like a really snazzy coffee and a muffin before we head out. And yeah.
You mean where you've got coffees included on the
Yeah,
package?
well, it's a fancy coffee.
Okay.
I can get a fancy coffee. You know what I'm talking.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about budgeting a lot when we've talked about drinks packages in the past, and it is one of the big appeals to me as well.
Yeah.
That you've paid for everything. Essentially, your cruise becomes an all-inclusive, because you might have also booked a couple of speciality dinings in advance or used your cruise credit if you can use it in advance or when you're on board.
Yeah.
So you know that you're not having to check your bill on a regular basis.
No.
Because there's nothing less holiday-like than going to your interactive TV or your app to see how much you spent the night before when you don't remember much of it after 8 o'clock at night, and then
It's
you go,
awful.
"We
It's
spent all
awful. Yeah. I mean, that happens on land as well,
that." It does.
but I prefer it when it's on holiday.
So if it's port intensive, then for me that's the one where there's the least argument to actually get a drinks package, because if you know that you're getting off the ship at the ports, because it's port intensive doesn't mean you're going to be getting off. There's a few ports that we've been fortunate to go to quite a few times,
And we just stay on the ship.
yeah, and we have that quiet bit of ship, but also the service level ramps up on the ship, because there's not anyone on there. You can get drinks quick and sort
It's like your own ship. Yeah, I know what you're saying. So then, but again, if we're on a Princess cruise and we've gone Princess Premier, then that's okay. If we're on a Virgin cruise, then I feel it. I feel port intensive feels very intense because we don't have a traditional drinks package. We might have bar tab.
Yeah, we have bar tab, and we often have more bar tab than we need.
You say that.
No, we met the most of it in there, and we'll sort of use that bar tab or that sailor loop differently. But I think that's a little bit different to a normal drinks package.
Yeah.
All right, coming away from port intensive then.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of other times when you should or shouldn't buy a drinks package beyond just, do you drink enough?
I've thought of one.
Go for it.
Transatlantic winter. I don't think I would want a drinks package doing that.
We've done transatlantic in winter twice and took a drinks package both times.
Not winter. We did it in autumn. We did in autumn.
Oh, we did it in October and November. That's close enough.
Hurricane season.
And we took the drinks package, and on one of those particular ones, you drank half the martini bar on the first day.
Yes, but we'd not got out past the Straits of Gibraltar by that point. No, it was
Do you mean more if you're just doing a straight across, something like Queen Mary 2?
If you're doing Queen Mary 2 crossing in January, I'm not sure a drinks package would be, or even October for that matter. I'm not sure a drinks package.
Are you saying that because you're thinking the weather might be rougher and therefore you're not going to drink as much? Because otherwise that's the opposite to what we just talked about, where it's the opposite of port intensive. There are no ports, and therefore you're going to get the most value for money from a drinks package because you're going to be on the ship all the time.
Yeah, but then it's quite it could be quite bouncy, and you feel, again,
I'd certainly be more...
Again, I don't do it because I do it because I like it. I don't do it because I'm drinking.
No, but those two things do come hand in hand.
I do like drinking.
There is no point getting a drinks package
if you don't like drinking.
Obviously, they do non-alcoholic packages, they do coffee packages, so that's equally relevant to what we're talking about here. When we're talking about us, we're talking about alcoholic.
You're still going to get stung with a bill.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you're just drinking sort of Pepsi or you're drinking coffee or tea, you're still going to get that bill if it's not included.
If it's a fancy one. Yeah.
But for me, the transatlantic ones where you've got no ports or is very low port intensive, the opposite of the first discussion, that's where you do really get that value for money. As you said, it's still around the budgeting side, but it's easier to see value for money on there. If you're looking at some of the drinks packages now, you see them over $100 a day in some cases.
I know.
Now, on those particular cruise lines that do that, you'll also find that an individual cocktail is like $19, whereas on another ship it might be $6.
Now, what did we watch the other day? Oh, I know it was. I know what it was.
What was that?
It was Paige and Mr. Morrow, and Nate went to a new bar in Disney World.
He went to G32 or something.
82, was it?
82.
Either way, he went to a new bar in Disney World, and Disney World are normally, their cocktail prices are kind of cruise line cocktail prices.
Yeah.
This new bar, the cocktails were $28.
Yeah, for a standard. I remember, didn't it get an old-fashioned?
It was an old-fashioned.
$28.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
if that's the way
cruise lines are a little bit cheaper than that at the moment.
At the moment, where Disney leads, typically
We've not been on a Disney cruise line for a while. I'd be interested to have a look at the Disney cocktail prices to see how they compare to their sort of
on land
hotel.
$28.
That's a lot for an old-fashioned.
That is a lot for an old-fashioned.
Ultimately comes down to the ingredients. If you've got really great ingredients, you could pay a lot more.
Yeah, but I feel that you'd need to have that at the start of the night when you can appreciate it, rather than, the thing is, you probably pay for it at the end of the night when you've had a few, thinking, $28 is fine.
Well, we were on, when we were on Virgin last bank holiday, we got...
August bank holiday.
Yeah, we had a lot of Sailor Lou and bar tab.
Yes, we did.
And on one of the days, we bought a shot of tequila that was $37. So you can't say $28 is a lot for Manhattan when we paid $37 for a shot.
You did get fancy salt with it and some lime.
Oh, that makes it worth it then. And we shared it between 4 people.
We did. And I was so broken when I got off that cruise. So broken.
I think that was predominantly down to day 1, 2, and 3, as opposed to...
the day that I went to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
All right, let's think about another scenario.
Oh, okay.
What about hot weather versus cold weather cruising?
Oh.
Is there any sort of benefit to not or to taking a package on those particular types?
Oh, that's a good one.
So, for instance, Alaska, the Arctic, Antarctica, fjords compared to Mediterranean.
I hear what you're saying. Now you might say, oh, we're better off with the just the specialty coffees or the soft drinks in Alaska.
In the cold ones.
Yeah. But I like to toddy. I like to a fancy when we were cruising up to the glacier.
You had a Bloody Mary in the morning.
I had a Bloody Mary. I had quite a few drinks actually.
You did.
As we cruised into the bay bit. And I was drinking at 7:00 in the morning, but I knew my drinks were covered, so it was one of the best drinking experiences I've ever had.
Well, I had a hot chocolate with some rum in, I think. I can't properly remember. I remember your Bloody Mary because they were making it for about 5 minutes.
Did it have prawns and bacon in?
Yeah, it had all the
And it was a spicy one as well. It was like a breakfast in a glass.
It was breakfast in a glass.
I should have
tomatoes in there.
I should have more of them. More of them in my life.
Are you going to set up just behind us here a Bloody Mary station?
I'm setting it up at work.
I'm not sure how that'll go down.
It won't go down well at all, but I'll be happy.
I don't know if there is whilst I suggested it sort of as a scenario, I'm not sure that there is like a big advantage or not to taking a package just based on the weather. It might seem obvious that if you're on a hot cruise, you're going to drink more, and you might be lying at the side of the pool more.
Which you do.
If that's
but you go to the island, and sometimes the drinks packages, depending on the cruise line, are not covered by when you get on the island.
Some are, some are not.
So again, that's something you have to suss out.
Yeah, and again, that comes down to understanding your ports and what's included.
Yeah.
There are also some parts of the world where when you're in that part of the world, when you're in the port, you pay a tax even if you've bought the drinks package.
Yeah.
So
Spain, Barcelona.
On some cruise lines absorb it, others charge you for it.
Yeah.
So again, if you're doing like an overnight in one of them, you're on a 7-night and you're doing 2 overnights within there, you could find that you're still getting taxed anyway on top. So you'd still get taxed on top of the drinks you were buying anyway. So it's not even more expensive, but there is a cost.
I just psychologically for me, that's a big word for me at this time of day. I like that everything's covered.
Yeah, for I think both of us, that is one of the biggest attractions of a drinks package. Having said that, there are certain cruise lines we go on where it just doesn't work for us, and we know that in advance, so therefore it's a pay as you go, and we're pre-budgeting.
Yeah, we know.
Knowing that.
Yeah.
Virgin, we buy the bar tab if we haven't got a lot of sail loot or bar tab included in whatever offer they've got on at that point.
Yeah.
So again, you're pre-budgeting for it, but it's in a different way. I think there's also, when we're talking about whether you should or shouldn't buy a drinks package, is when they've got a mega offer on.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you look at people like sort of Royal Caribbean groups, for us, when I talk about that group, I'm predominantly talking about Royal and Celebrity, because that's the two that we've done the most within that group.
Yes.
They will often have like cyber sales.
Yeah.
Where, because their drinks packages can be quite expensive for both of them.
Well, they put them up, I'm guessing, to bring them down on these times.
Yeah, but a lot of the time they don't.
They go down.
They're just
they stay up.
But you can find that you can get a drinks package that's sort of 45 to 50% cheaper than what they are normally.
Yeah.
If you then compare that to what the per drink price is on board, then they say not only are you pre-budgeting, but the savings are huge. You're not having to drink. We've had a lot of people say to us, I don't think I'd better drink 8 or 9 or 10 or 20 drinks a day, whatever they've worked out it is to break even for them.
Yeah.
And which is a valid point.
I know.
But when it's half price,
yes,
you need half of the stuff.
But
and
you
then
just got
specialty coffees, and on some cruise lines they have smoothies or specialty fruit juices as well. So it adds up on there.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that if there is an offer on, that's the time to really consider buying them. And if there's not, then that's where you're properly working out for yourself, using someone like Cruise Mummy's calculator, which is great.
It's great. Yeah.
How much are you going to have to drink across the coffees, the fruit juices, the alcoholic drinks, cocktails, etc., to become close to break even? Because for me, it's not about making a profit out of it. It's not that I'm up on there. I've got more alcohol than I paid for. It's about being somewhere close to what it cost me, because, as you've said, it's that pre-budgeting that's the bigger appeal to us.
Yeah.
And therefore, from there. Any other sort of things that you can think of to do with when we should or shouldn't buy one?
I think we're back to our usual when we talk about these things. You do you, and we try and help.
Yeah.
We will always try and suss out, like Princess Premiere. We love that. So yeah, it's one. I think there's no answer to it. It's like life.
It's like life.
There's no answer.
Well, maybe we should ask a supercomputer to work it out for us.
42.
Correct. Would you like a cruise confession? We haven't had one for
No, we've not had
episodes.
one for a while.
So this one's coming from Lisa.
Okay.
Real name, obviously, not giving surname away. All right, so this happened on my very first cruise.
Oh, we were straight into it. Okay.
Straight into it. Well, there's not really a setup, is there?
I was expecting music, but that's another thing, so just ignore me.
That's a different confession channel. And believe me, it set the bar pretty high for future embarrassments.
Oh, dear.
We were on a Caribbean sailing, and it was 80s night.
Oh, nice.
We like an 80s night.
We do?
You know, big hair, neon, all the works.
Big hair 80s.
What's wrong with big hair in 80s?
My hair's decided it's in the 80s now.
It just lives in the 80s.
It's gone back to the 80s. It's gone.
Especially if it's warm.
Thank God for Sabrina Carpenter. Big hair is back.
It is back.
Thank you. Continue.
I was feeling great.
Ooh,
Dressed in my most outrageous leggings and shoulder padded top,
nice.
and the fruity cocktails were flowing freely from the moment we boarded. I
Oh,
do notice that on the cruise confessions, fruity cocktails do tend to play a central part of the confession.
yeah, fruity cocktail.
Yeah.
I like a sour cocktail, but I can do
You
a
do a fruity cocktail.
I can do fruity in the day. I like sour at night.
You do. I'd gone on with my friends, Sarah and Andy,
Nice.
who are just a blast and keen cruisers.
Hmm.
We'd been hitting the disco pretty hard, dancing like it was 1985. And by about 1 a.m., I was still feeling good. Sarah and I decided we needed one more woo-woo before calling it a night.
Okay.
Andy, bless his heart, had wisely decided to head back to the cabin a bit earlier.
Okay. I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah.
I've also woo-wooed.
Yeah, you've been at both sides of that.
I have. I feel I'm good for this. Okay.
So Sarah and I are at the bar, giggling, when I spot what I think is Andy,
Oh, no.
leaning against the railing on the deck, looking out at the ocean.
Oh, no.
He's got the same build,
Yeah.
dark hair,
Oh,
wearing
no.
a similar light-coloured polo shirt he had on earlier.
Uh-huh.
And I said to Sarah, "Oh, there's your responsible husband." Or more accurately, I slurred to Sarah, "I'm going to go give him a good night kiss."
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh,
not necessarily going where you think, though. Now,
Oh.
remember, I'm heavily in the woo-woo zone.
yeah.
I sneak up behind Andy,
Uh-oh.
put my arms around his waist,
Yeah.
lean my head against his back, say,
Yeah.
"Well, hello there, sailor." Trying to sound seductive, giggling in his shirt. "Did you miss me? Because we missed you." I even give his bum a playful pat, leaning in for a kiss on what I thought was his neck, and that's when he stiffened.
Really?
All right,
I mean,
quick reaction time from Andy.
wait. I can't speak.
Let me finish.
I'm so quick reaction time.
Yes. It stiffened very quickly when she went to kiss his neck. Let me carry on.
I'm feeling very inferior.
And then he slowly turned around.
Oh, no.
It was not Andy.
No, we kind of figured that.
It was a perfectly polite, very bewildered, and extremely British gentleman
Oh,
in his 60s, wearing exactly the same kind of polo shirt as Andy.
oh my goodness.
He had a look on his face that was a mix of shock, confusion, and maybe just a hint of terror.
What is it they say? You're as young as the girl that...
That's your bum. I froze. My mind, usually so quick with a witty retort, was utterly blank.
Oh,
The disco lights seemed to shine an unholy spotlight on my neon leggings. Sarah, who had just caught up, took one look at the scene and burst into silent, shaking laughter, burying her face in her hands.
Oh, I bet she did.
I stammered out, "Oh my God, I'm so incredibly sorry. I thought you were my friend's husband. You look
You're my friend's husband.
You look exactly like him from behind in this light. I'm pretty sure my face was the same shade as my fluorescent top." The poor man, to his credit, just blinked at me and managed a weak, "Right, okay, jolly good."
Jolly good.
I'm not sure whether he genuinely said jolly good, but it does sound very British.
I think he said jolly good. I think he said jolly good.
And then quickly and politely walked off. Really, practically jogged off.
I bet he jogged off.
I don't think I've ever moved so fast in my life to get back inside. Sarah and I dissolved into hysterics as soon as we were back behind the door.
Oh my God.
To this day, if I see a guy in a light-coloured polo from behind, I get a cold sweat.
Oh, no, what she was going to say.
So yeah, that's my cruise confession. I propositioned a complete stranger thinking he was my friend's husband, all thanks to some woo-woo cocktails and an 80s night fever. So my apologies to the smart British gentleman who I grabbed, and please forgive me, Mark and Lindsay.
I mean,
Do you forgive?
Of course I forgive. Of course I forgive. I'm just trying to think if... No.
Have you ever had mistaken identity when you've had a few cocktails? Not necessarily saying you grabbed the bum. I'm going to take it from that look.
I don't know what you're asking me.
Have you got confused when you're drunk?
I've got confused when I've drunk. Have I manhandled somebody accidentally when I'm drunk? No.
No. You're a good girl.
On purpose, yes.
Would you like a cruise news story?
Yes, please.
Super. Well, we've got 3 news stories. The first one is about Royal Caribbean naming their new godmother.
Oh, it's Diana Ross.
It is. So for their new Star of the Seas, I'm still finding it confusing that we've got,
we've got Star Princess and Star of the
Seas. Same
time. They obviously put it like into Chat GPT. Give me a name of a cruise ship.
a cruise ship generator.
Yeah, and it spat out Star.
And they both went, that'll do.
Yeah, and then they all went to their respective meetings and like, Star, we've done all the research and it's Star.
Either sort of the sort of Princess team or the Royal Caribbean team, when they learned that the other ones had called it that as well, sat down and considered changing the name at any point? Or do you think they just went, whatever?
I think there's probably some language, if I'm quite honest.
Because they're in competing sort of cruise groups, aren't they? Royal Caribbean Group and Carnival Corporation.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think there was probably some sighs and some like mutterings and somebody who normally doodles in the office, who's not really paying much attention in the meeting, will probably went,
"Is this you as well?"
And then back to the doodles.
Let's go back to Diana Ross for a second. What's your thoughts on Diana Ross? Because obviously she's not necessarily sort of the most current of artists.
No, but she's a legend. She's a legend.
She is an absolute legend.
She's a legend.
And it's called Star of the Seas. You would definitely not argue of her being a star. Do you think we still need high-profile godmothers for ships? Or is it sort of a bygone era? Do people really care?
I think they're good on the night, aren't they, when they've got a singing one? They come and
they do the actual sail away.
It's crashing the champagne and made with the special glass so that it
cracks.
So it cracks. And then they do a bit of a sing-song and then they have the lovely picture taken. Or this picture will be like beautiful, sparkly. I'm going to say, she's going to look incredible. So they'll dodder her on.
I said, didn't she sing for
Glastonbury?
No, I'm thinking, wasn't it like the Queen's anniversary?
Oh, yeah, I think it was, yes.
It was a little bit cringy, that.
She was kept playing with a pack.
Okay. I've had a few people when sort of over the years ask me what the purpose of a godmother is. And I'm like, it's just like an honorary thing. It's someone who gets involved with the
yeah,
naming
well,
of it, and then they have the
yeah.
picture on the ship. They don't have a specific purpose. It goes back in history of sort of that side of things. But I'm not sure.
Well, no, it's the equivalent of to
The mast. Well, that'll be interesting for anyone who's just listening to this podcast.
The person
The
on the
figurehead.
the figurehead on the front. It's kind of evolved from that. Where,
Really?
yeah, it's like protection thing.
Are you just logically thinking that, or do you know that?
Well, I thought I knew it, but I think I know a lot of things
Until you realise you don't.
that I dreamt it.
Well, Dinah Ross anyway. Shall I cruise story number 2? And it's carnival related.
Oh no!
There's been lots of coverage this week around carnival, and I thought we had to talk about it.
You're making me feel awkward
because this isn't the same story that you necessarily.
Okay. Because
it is to do with banning.
What's the banned?
Well, it's what they're not banning.
What they're not banning?
So they've confirmed this week 2 things that they're not going to ban.
Is that manhandling people when you've had a few?
Yeah, it's one cocktails. They are not going to ban staff or cruisers singing Happy Birthday in the main dining room because there'd been a campaign to get that banned, which I found a bit weird.
Okay.
We've heard plenty of Happy Birthdays sing-alongs, and we
sang along and
clapped along.
Yeah.
It's nice. I don't have any problem. I'm not sure why this came about, that people wanted it. Maybe on certain ones you hear like Happy Birthday 20 times a night and you're sick of it.
Oh, we've all been in a restaurant like that. In a family restaurant, usually.
Yeah. And people do go on cruises to celebrate stuff.
Yeah.
So you're going to get that. So yeah, maybe I get it to a degree why people thought it, but later on. But the other bit affects you personally as to what they're not going to ban.
Is it redheads?
It's not redheads or people with big hair or people with a passion for cocktails.
Oh, I see.
It is, they're not going to ban people from closing the balcony doors at night.
Was that going to be a thing?
It had been a request. John Heald, their brand ambassador, it had sort of been complained to him that people felt that it was affecting. There was this rumour going around that if someone opened their balcony door, it knocked the aircon off in the balconies at either side of them.
Right.
Which he went to the chief engineer of the group.
Yeah, and they said no.
Who said that's absolute
rubbish.
Codswallop.
Yeah.
It only affects the room. It switches it off in there.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that a lot of people like to have fresh air coming in from the ocean. So we're not going to ban it. But they did warn people that when it gets windy or a bit stormy, that just to be careful that the door's not slamming, and be careful with you.
I don't
Fingers and thumbs.
Okay, thanks.
But yes, so
they need a towel device.
So no banning of closing the door for you.
Okay.
Final news story.
Okay.
Regent Seven Seas has got a new ship coming out.
Nice.
The Prestige.
We're not going on it.
No, very unlikely.
That's
unless we've got that big
unless we've won the Euro Millions, because you got the music right.
Yeah, so if we've got that, maybe we do.
Oh.
But
I think that's probably cheaper than buying an actual yacht.
Well, let's wait until we get to the end of this story and then tell me whether you think that when we win the Euro Millions tonight, whether we should book this suite.
And just for context, Euro Millions about 210 million tonight. Pounds. Okay, so
it's a lot of money.
It's not bad.
No. So they've got a new mega suite. So it's the first time that it's appeared on any of their ships.
Yeah.
It spans a whopping 8,800 square feet.
That's bigger than all the houses we've had put together.
It's on average 4 times bigger than the average house size.
Okay.
I think in America is where it said on there. And it has a per night rate starting at $25,000 per night.
$25,000
per night.
Per night.
Yeah. Would you like to know what you get for that $25,000?
Okay.
So it's called the Skyview Regent Suite.
Okay.
It's been designed.
The Skyview Sky High Priced Regent Suite.
Yeah, that's the one. Designed as a 2-level living space. So it's a duplex.
Okay.
with a total of, as I said, just under 8,800 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
It has a wraparound balcony, which gives you a further 3,700 square feet outside.
Wow.
So all in all, you've got nearly 12,000 square feet of accommodation.
Wow.
Which, when you consider their ships are not that big, that's a big chunk of ship. The new accommodation will have 2 bedrooms, so you could share it with someone else.
Oh, that's all right.
And it makes it cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, we're then down to about $6,000 per
Look, I'm
person per
stroking
night.
myself at the thought of that. Okay.
2.5 bathrooms.
Yeah.
A spacious living room.
Nice.
A stone stairway to the 2nd level.
To heaven.
Yep. But don't worry, guests don't have to ascend the stairs because you've also got an in-suite elevator.
Right.
So when you can afford that, they don't expect you to walk.
Yeah.
It also has a private gym.
Nice.
A sauna.
Yeah.
An in-suite dining area.
Right.
That features a glass-enclosed bar. And the suite will have access to a venue called the Study.
Right.
Which is a private dining room.
Okay.
Just for
that
you to use.
Yeah.
Accommodating up to 12 guests, so you can invite other people into there with you. And it's situated between the ship's 2 restaurants, Prime 7 and Chartreuse.
Right.
The suite's upper level,
oh my God,
hosts the main suite, including the bedroom, the sitting area, a bathroom with a hand-carved tub. Not sure the benefit of a hand-carved tub. Never been in a
it sounds like I'd bang myself on it.
It sounds interesting. A walk-in shower and a sauna.
Mm-hmm.
The private gym will have a training equipment and a dedicated massage room.
Mm-hmm.
And as an ultra-luxury experience, guests booking the suite will also enjoy the services of a private car and a driver in every single port. But
wow.
Is that or any suite worth $25,000 per night?
No, I'm not going on that.
I say you could have it, if you divide it down to per person, then you're at $6,250 per person per night.
Oh, is that all? No, we're not doing that.
It's a lot. So if you won the Euro Million, would you want to go on that one?
No, because then everybody's going, they've won the Euro Millions, haven't they?
Do you think it's going to be one of these suites? I'm sure there are certain people who can afford it, because you have to bear in mind that it says it's starting from that. So the price goes up from that as well. Certain cruises a bit more.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to be one where they're going to put VIPs in that more? You know, like in some of the big casino resorts or Atlantis, they have like that
the bridge one
that goes across. That technically you can pay for it, but it's one that they'll be wanting to sort of use for
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans?
Is that what I said? Just like...
what sort of OnlyFans page someone got us $25,000 per night? Meaning, do you think it's one that they're going to sort of donate to sort of
charity?
No, I mean.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I know.
Yes, that sort of stuff.
Maybe it sounds very
It
ostentatious.
just seems extremely expensive.
It sounds very. Yeah, I wouldn't want to stay in.
It sounds fancy.
It does sound very fancy, but if I had that type of money, I wouldn't want to stay in it because I'd be thrifty. Because you know my motto: look after the pennies and the pounds look after themselves.
They do, because you could go on a lot of cruises for what you would pay for.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not doing it.
What I will be interested in, though, is when someone like Hard Travel or Affluent Journeys goes on there and does a tour of it. I will be watching it.
Definitely watching it.
And if anyone we ever know stays in it, I will definitely be watching it.
Then invite us.
Yeah. But invite us to have a look around it. If you're ever in the UK, we'll definitely come and have a look. I'll be fascinated to see it.
And the thread count, what's the thread count on that?
All the threads.
All the threads.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode's Cruisecast, unless you've got anything else you want to add.
No.
Well, I'll give you a little cheers.
Cheers, darling. Thank you for listening or watching, and have a lovely day.
And I'll play us out with a little mood music.
I liked it.